Spoiler warning for anything that happens through Battleground in the law, just because I don't want anybody to click on this video, think it's spoiler free, and then get their mind blown and the entire series ruined for them. You have been warned. I just finished re-listening to Blood Rites for the second or third time, and there's a lot of things I really want to do a deep dive on. So let me know down in the comments if that's something you're interested in. But one thing that I totally missed the first time that I read this book is that Lara Raith owes Karrin Murphy a favor. Sort of near the climax, there's this thing that happens where Harry and Murphy get attacked by some of Chateau Raith's bodyguards. And unfortunately, Inari and Bobby end up getting hurt, and Karrin very graciously offers to call emergency services to try to help them out. But Lara Raith, being Lara Raith, is like, no, we handle this kind of stuff internally and quietly, and I would owe you a favor if you just didn't and let me handle it. So that got me wondering a couple things, like, did Murphy ever cash in that favor? If so, on what? And if not, is she even still able to call it in after everything that happened in Battleground? Other fans have speculated online that Murphy might have called in this favor already off-screen. She very easily could have done this in order to help the Paranet, or the Better Future Society, or even to get her job back with the Chicago PD. You know, since that guy that everybody loves to hate, Rudolph, probably working for the White Court anyways, but that is for another video, got her fired. Some people thought that it might be impossible for Karrin to use that favor just because of her ideals and everything that she believes in. Lara Raith, just like John Marcone, are two people that Karrin Murphy doesn't want to get any more entangled in than she already has to, being Harry Dresden's friend. She very much sees herself as being lawful good, and these guys are chaotic neutral at best. And after all, gentleman Johnny Marcone did offer to use his connections, i.e. all the people he's paid off in the police department, in order to help her get her job back, and Karrin refused. So, you know, she had a chance. In the supernatural world, favors are kind of treated a little bit differently. In the real human world, you kind of have this idea of reciprocity where if somebody does you a favor, you think that you owe them a favor. And even when you repay them the favor, it kind of keeps the whole trail going. But in the sort of supernatural community, a favor for a favor, everything's done. There's not really much more attached to it, unless you want to use it as another way to, you know, open up the channel's conversation for some dirty work you want done anyways. And I think that's really what Karrin is afraid of. We haven't seen anything on screen that anybody can remember that indicates that Karrin called in this favor. So now that she's kind of out of the picture, how can she call in that favor for the rest of the series? There's about 3 ways that I could see this going down, and in order to keep everything very, very surface level so that I can spend more time researching other topics, we're just going to stick to this. We could see Murphy come back for the big apocalyptic trilogy. This is because she was collected to be one of the people that gets to fight with Odin during Ragnarok. And, you know, Ragnarok is like the apocalypse, and this is like the apocalypse, and it probably is just all going to come together. It's very possible that she could use this opportunity to call in a favor with Lara, and Lara would be more than happy to do that, because even though they're kind of on the same side on this one, the White Court was definitely mentioned in Blood Rites to be the kind of people that would be happy to do you a favor and have it count as like a debt repaid by doing something that they were going to do anyways. Plus, with the whole Murphy being Harry's love interest and then Lara probably by this point being his wife, things would be a little bit awkward, but it would be kind of like a peaceful resolution for the passing of the baton that is Harry Dresden. The second way that I could see this all going down is some mirror shenanigans. And there's a couple ways that this could go. So if Murphy's gone in all realities, this discussion is pretty much pointless because she's not going to come back from Mirror. We know that Mirror is going to start at the point of a very pivotal decision for Harry. And if that decision was made before he ended up saving her from Kravos, the big bad kind of undead dude, then she could still be taken out and just sleeping and enduring a lot of like psychic bad stuff going on. So she could be completely out of the picture, but she could also be something in play that could magically get woken up later. Kind of like what Harry was trying to do with that one piece of cloth that he got in Summer Night in order to take away Susan's vampireness, but then he ended up using it to make Lily not be stone. They could probably somehow get through to Lara that in order to repay her debt and the favor, she could just get Karrin Murphy out of that bind and bring her back into the realm of the living, and everything would be good. And 3, of course, if Karrin Murphy is alive and well in the Mirrorverse, she could always call in the favor her own damn self. Now, there might be some sort of legal mumbo-jumbo going on with the whole, is Mirrorverse Karrin Murphy the same Karrin Murphy that is owed a favor, and if so, does she have the right to call it in? But I think that that's kind of the job of like Mab and Mr. Winter and all of them to figure out, and I'll just keep it in my head. After all this stuff is tinfoil, right? Murphy could have also already called it in, except she could have asked for something that's going to happen in the future, and it's already in the pipeline and we just don't know about it. It could be like something in Skin Game where there was something going on in the background the entire time and we didn't know it until Harry decided to show us that it happened. After all, Harry doesn't know everything that Karrin does in her free time, and if he did, it would have made the whole her and Kincaid thing really, really awkward for him. You know, even more than it already was. This could also be a plot point that Jim Butcher forgot about, which is totally fine because this thing is super complicated. I'm just happy that he keeps the story as together as he has after 17 books. Or Murphy's never going to be able to call in the favor because Lara does not want her to be able to call in the favor. Karrin Murphy is probably at the top of the laundry list of things that is keeping Lara from being with Harry, and she seems to have, you know, the hots for him, and seem to be very, very agreeable to this whole getting married thing in order to cement an alliance with Winter. Now, we all know that Lara's a horrible person, and quite frankly, her character deserves like a deep dive in itself, and if you want that sooner rather than later, give me a comment. But if Harry's in love with Murphy, then Lara's not going to be able to touch him. That means that they can't produce an heir, which means that the whole alliance with Winter thing is probably, you know, frozen still until it happens. It also means that Harry would be less likely to agree to the wedding or try to weasel his way out of it if Karrin was still in the picture. If your romantic rival had a get out of a bind free card with you, you'd probably hope that they never got to collect on that either. And having to help them out would just make you that much saltier. There's a lot of unknowns with this topic, so I'm going to ask a favor of you. Do you think Karrin Murphy will call in her favor? Do you think that she's already called it in and it just hasn't come into play? Or do you think that this is just something that's not going to be a thing in the future? Leave me a comment down below and we'll talk about it. If you like what I do, please hit the subscribe button and join the caffeination. We'd love to have you. I post booktube videos and also a lot of Dresden Files theory content because I'm obsessed with it. Like, share, subscribe on all your social media and with your friends that love the Dresden Files. And if you think that I suck at this, leave me a comment down below and I'll try to suck better next time. Bye.